Welcome to Dark Truths, Religion Uncovered. Tonight, we explore the contrast between ancient suffering and modern avoidance, asking what faith has lost when pain transitioned from something sacred to a problem to escape or explain away. We confront a significant shift in our understanding of suffering, a change that has weakened the depth of faith. In ancient theology, suffering was never seen as meaningless. It wasn't always a result of sin, nor was it automatically alleviated by faithfulness. Consider Job, who suffered without explanation, or Israel, enduring exile in spite of their covenant. The prophets suffered for proclaiming the truth, and Jesus endured suffering not as a failure but as the completion of his obedience. Though not romanticized, suffering was revered as a formative experience, revealing character, refining trust, and stripping away false hopes. In contrast, modern belief often views suffering as an anomaly. If pain persists, something must be wrong. Faith is measured by the relief it brings, and God is expected to quickly remove hardship. When suffering continues, theology gets adjusted to fit. Pain is reframed as a lack of faith, poor choices, or spiritual imbalance. While this approach seems comforting, ancient theology would deem it dis. Scripture never promises exemption from suffering. It assures us of God's presence within it, as seen in the line, "Though I walk through the valley," rather than around it. Modern faith tends to shy away from suffering because it threatens the certainty we cling to, exposing our limits and dismantling the illusion that obedience brings comfort. Thus, belief adjusts. Suffering is minimized. Platitudes replace lament, and quick explanations take the place of patience. Ancient believers understood that lament was sacred. The Psalms are filled with cries for answers, and God does not rebuke lament. He preserves it as part of Scripture. Lament isn't doubt. It's faith refusing to remain silent. In today's world, lament is often avoided because it feels negative. But without lament, suffering becomes isolating, and unspoken pain can devolve into shame. Ancient theology viewed suffering as a communal experience. Individuals wept, fasted, and waited together. In contrast, modern belief frequently privatizes suffering, leaving individuals to navigate their pain alone while pretending that faith is always victorious. However, a faith that cannot engage with suffering cannot honestly articulate God's nature. Ancient theology teaches that suffering conveys truths that comfort cannot. It reveals whether our trust is rooted in God or solely in outcomes. It purifies hope and dismantles shallow belief. Modern belief often sidesteps these lessons because suffering seems pointless. Yet Scripture confirms that suffering produces endurance, character, and hope, not in a swift or painless manner, but truthfully. When suffering is explained away, faith loses its depth. It becomes fragile and collapses in the face of persistent pain. Ancient believers endured suffering because they trusted in God's presence, even in silence. Meanwhile, modern belief usually looks for explanations before committing to trust. But Scripture guarantees presence, not always explanations. Tonight's truth is sobering. A faith that cannot withstand suffering without losing its meaning has yet to learn to trust God beyond comfort. Suffering does not negate faith. Instead, it reveals it. Ancient theology knew this reality, while modern belief often forgets it because suffering is inherently uncomfortable. Yet, discomfort often provides the most honest testing ground for our faith. As we conclude, I invite you to reflect on a challenging question that ancient theology would boldly pose to modern belief. If God did not remove your suffering, did not explain it, and did not relieve it quickly, would your faith still acknowledge Him as good? Thank you for joining Dark Truths, Religion Uncovered. We encourage you to share your thoughts below. Has suffering been stripped of its meaning, or does belief still recognize pain as a profound space where God works deeply and silently? Subscribe for more episodes like this.